Hi everybody, welcome back to another rebuild house in my series of rebuilding The Sims 4. Today we are tackling a very famous couple in The Sims 4, Bob and Eliza Pancakes. And yeah, I don't know about you guys, but this build was for me, it was fun, but also so weird because Bob and Eliza is just the most chaotic couple ever. I feel like Eliza is, pardon my language, kind of a bitch, and Bob is just a shell of a man. So building this build was so much fun as well. I had a great time building it, but building it into something that fits in with my rebuild series was actually kind of difficult. So the whole thing with Bob and Eliza is they are married. As far as I can tell, they don't really care for each other, but they still live together. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take this a little bit further. To be honest, I wanted to take it a lot further, but you know, I took it as far as I thought I could with this build. So Bob and Eliza in this build, just a little bit of background story. My builds and buildings in Willow Creek is very much inspired by a more industrial era, and that's what my rebuilds are kind of focused around. So you're gonna see that throughout this build, but this build was actually two different buildings that Bob and Eliza bought, both of them, so they could kind of have a house together, but they turned each of the two builds that were normally an apartment into a one build, but they kind of live in separate spaces of the build, if that makes sense. So Eliza lives on the first floor, Bob lives on the ground floor. And doing a build like this was actually, I would say it was a bit of a challenge because how do you marry two buildings together that first off look so different as these do, but also put a spin on it where you can see that, oh, okay, it's actually a repurposed build that's like, for example, an old industrial factory or something like that that has been repurposed into something completely different. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge was these two don't particularly like each other. Like, they're married, but they don't really seem to care for each other that much. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just the vibe that I'm getting from those two. And also, they have both buildings. So both buildings are kind of combined by, and you're going to see this when we get inside, by this staircase that they added on inside of the builds. But each of the buildings used to be apartments. So they have their own kitchens, their own bathrooms, their own bedrooms, but also own living spaces, but they still have access to each other's spaces. Whether or not they use that, I feel like that's that's something for the storytellers of The Sims. You know, the ones, you guys, the ones who actually play the game. I rarely play the game, only when I do the Let's Plays, which is my chance to actually play around with the game with you guys, but I don't really sit down and play the game by myself. It's just not something that I've never really done. I've always been more interested in the building aspect of the series. So I leave it up to you guys to really hit home with the storytelling of Eliza and Bob in this build version of it. Before we get into it, so there is a garage, but my rebuild series, every single build is gonna be available on the gallery, but I will also do a complete upload of the save file once I'm done with each of the worlds. So we have finished up the world of Del Sol Valley. The build is coming out very soon, the last build for that, but and it was a behemoth, like a giant mansion thing on the highest peak of Del Sol Valley. So that's why it's taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. But each of the builds are available on the gallery once I finish them. But there's also going to be a complete save file for those of you who want the builds as I place them into the world, because I do actually move a lot of stuff around. I move a lot of people around or places, or something gets turned into something completely different. So, for example, I have in this series, you've already seen me do it, but I have created a new library for Willow Creek, which means the old one is not there anymore. And that's for you to discover what I did with that lot, because I finished that up today when I'm recording this. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But each of the builds are getting uploaded, but the save file is coming once I'm done. So moving into the builds here. I thought it would be cool if I started off with Bob's half of the builds. Now, he did live on the ground floor, so there was a little bit more space downstairs than upstairs, but you can definitely also see that the garage takes up a lot of space. You have to, and that's true for each of the spaces here, for the lower part and the upper part. Each of them have to get outside to get into the garage. So there's a dedicated space for each of the cars. Again, I don't think they particularly like each other, but it's kind of a merriment that Bob just seems so sad all the time. And life is just a bitch. I'm sorry, but she is. So in the garage, I wanted that to really be reflected, that they have a lot of like stuff, just old stuff, and like maybe memorabilia that they've saved or Bob have saved, because he's not ready to move on. I don't know the complete story. You guys tell me what the story is. It's for you to storytell and for me to just build. But Bob has a living room that you walk right into. I thought that was kind of okay, seeing that this used to be an apartment and now it's kind of been, repurposed into a duplex kind of thing. But you walk right into the living space. In the back, we have his kitchen and dining area. We also have a bathroom for him and a bedroom. And Eliza has almost the exact same rooms. The upper part is a bit smaller, but it's definitely more of her style going throughout. So going in and looking at the OG builds and what Eliza's half of that build, because this is not my idea. The original build was very much split up. They had the common places like the living space and the kitchen. They shared that, but the upstairs, it was completely divided. So it was Eliza's half and Bob's half. That's it. They even had their own separate balconies. I mean, can you blame me for just taking it a little bit further and really emphasize that they don't really like each other, or at least one of them don't like the other one? That's where the idea came from, actually. But the upstairs, Bob's half of the OG build, there was no real personality, to be honest. It was very difficult to see what kind of personality he had from that part of the build, because it was just very bland and drab. Just, it was sad, and I wanted it to give him a little bit more personality than that. It's not the best downstairs, but it's a bit more of a bachelor pad type of vibe, whereas Eliza was just I don't like her. I don't know if you can tell, but I don't really like her. But her part in the OG build was more whimsical, with these pinkish colors as well, and I felt like there was more personality actually coming out from her side of the build. So that's what I tried to emphasize as well in this version of each of their respective places in the house. But again, they do have the staircase that kind of opens it up so they can visit each other. But I feel like that's maybe more of her vibe. Maybe she is a bit controlling and she was like, I need to know what's going on at all times, even though I am just the biggest bee in the world. So I don't know. It's up to you. I honestly, I'm a little bit excited to see what you guys come up with for the storytelling of this. But as you can see, the apartment for Eliza is really coming along. I believe I'm going to go in and recolor that orange wall. Yeah, there we go, to a more purplish pink one to really hit home. But they have the exact same flooring going throughout each of the apartments, and she does have a little bit less space up here, but her kitchen is way nicer than Bob's. Let's be honest, it's just way nicer. She has nicer appliances, nicer furniture than Bob has. So you can really see that he got left the scraps while she just has all the awesome stuff, and that's probably where the money in that relationship goes, I think. Going into the bathroom, this is my worst nightmare. If you've been with the channel ever, I am not a pink, purple-ish kind of guy. I just don't like it. And this kind of baby pink is just, gross. But it just fits in so well with Eliza's personality. So I thought, we're going to have it. Even the freaking washer and dryer combo, I put in one for each of them, one pink and one for Bob. That's just the standard black one, because I was like, she probably won't share her whole, what is it called, washing routine with him, because that's just the person she is. But yeah, we're into the screenshots now, and starting off with the garage aspect of it. You saw the bird's eye view shots, but as you can see, Bob definitely doesn't have the nicer furniture. It kind of looks like a thrift store. I'm not going to be honest. It's all these different styles mixed and matched together into something that kind of looks cohesive, but still definitely looks like he was just roaming the thrift store to find anything that he could use. So even like the bedroom, I'm sorry, Bob, I tried to do you justice, but it's just, this is the story, this is the personality. And you can still see Eliza's touches here and there, but it's definitely, yeah, it's I'm sorry, Bob, but it's just not good. Going into Bob's bathroom here, that's where it looks a bit more familiar. Still not great, but, it is what it is. And I think we're going to go upstairs. Oh, yeah. Eliza's reading/study nook and her living room. She even has one of those fancy televisions that just looks like a picture frame when it's off. And then when it's on like a normal... God, yeah, just, it's not good. This is her bedroom. I feel like I definitely captured the style of her and her personality as well in the new Pancakes house. But again, I really want to hear about you guys and what kind of stories you think you're going to tell with this house. This new revamped house for Bob and Eliza. Pancakes, what do you feel like the story is? Because I definitely took it a bit further with the story than the OG house, but I just felt like that's where it was going. I do want to say though that I really adore the way that it turned out from the exterior. I think it looks so good, and it's definitely the vibe. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you haven't already. Go check out my vlogging channel and subscribe to that. I'm trying to hit 100 subs. And tell me what you thought about the build in the comment section down below. Remember, it is on the gallery. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!